Joining me right now is the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. Brad, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. So you're saying you want a system in the United States where you actually see cryptocurrency and a structure for it. Explain the issue that you're referring to on Twitter, Brad.
Good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me. I think what the world should really understand, certainly here in the United States, is that we are in a race with China. I think as we look back 3 or 4 years ago, there was a race around 5G.
Are we really in a race with China, or are we way ahead, pretending that we're in a race with China?
Networks. And I think if we look back in time today, we're going to find that we're at risk of making the same mistake again. And the mistake this time isn't about telecommunications networks and wireless networks. It's about global financial infrastructure. It's about global payments. Even this morning, I saw a new headline about how China is leaving others in the dust. I think in the race we're in, many countries are just in the process of getting a learner's permit. So for Ripple, we are looking at how do we make sure we can compete on a level playing field. And unfortunately, here in the US, we have some parts of the US government that look at cryptocurrencies one way and others look at it another way. Sometimes it's used as looked at as a currency or a commodity or maybe a security. And depending on how it's looked at, it's regulated very differently. I think the Chinese Communist Party is being very strategic and is very focused on dominating this technology. I think there's little doubt that today, China is well ahead of where others are around the world. And I think we have to decide as a country and really the rest of the globe how we want to respond to that.
It kind of feels like the sense of urgency is heightening, wouldn't you say?
And I suspect because we don't have a proper structural framework, regulatory framework in place, the broad public has questions about it. So how do you trust something that there's really not a regulatory framework around?
That really is the problem. It's kind of, for a company like Ripple, who is certainly, I'm a proud U.S. citizen. I grew up in Kansas and certainly want to remain here in the United States. But even last week, there was a report that came out of the Department of Justice that was talking about cryptocurrencies, and it listed 8 separate U.S. regulatory bodies, each of them with a slightly different view on crypto. Some thought it's a property, the IRS looks at it in one way. And I think really what we're seeing is the U.S. is out of sync with what a lot of other countries, the G20 markets are doing. Countries like the UK, as you mentioned up top, Singapore, Japan, even the UAE and Switzerland. These are all really good examples where there's a clear regulatory framework that's allowing for a healthy market to develop. I moved to Silicon Valley 20 plus years ago when the internet as we know it today was being born. And part of the success in the United States around the internet was because there was clarity for companies to invest. And there was a very level playing field for investment to flow into the internet as we know it today. As we think about the next version of the internet around global cryptocurrencies, global financial infrastructure, if there's a disincentive to invest here in the United States, it will go elsewhere. And certainly where we've seen some examples of US regulators actually advantaging Chinese technologies, that's the real kind of like conundrum we're in, is that if the US government's doing things to advantage a Chinese technology at the disadvantage to a company like Ripple and others like Ripple, then that's a really frustrating place to be. And that's why we have taken the step to look at, should we relocate the company to a country where it is clear?
I think you're making really important points, Brad. I'm glad you're getting this into the conversation. Let me bring in Bob Nardelli here. Bob, go ahead.
Hey, Brad. Again, as a fellow CEO, I can hear the passion in your voice, and I understand your frustration. But at a time when we're trying to do more onshoring, I would hope that, I think you would realize that we're in a very unique situation here with the pandemic. We're trying to get the Supreme Court. We've got an election. I remember vividly being on Maria's show when we were talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency, and it was at the top of the stack of discussion. So I just wonder if there is a pause that you could take to, remedy some of the concerns you've had. How do you feel about that? Is there a way for you and your colleagues to unite to try to get more attention on this and get it organized, as Maria points out, please?
Absolutely. And look, the reason why I am out talking about this, as Maria pointed out, we want there to be awareness around this Because I think my experience has been when people understand the issue, then they're like, oh, okay, wait a minute. We didn't mean to create that dynamic where we're advantaging a Chinese technology over U.S. companies.
You see how Brad explains it out there real nice for the people to be able to understand. Look, we're in a race with, China. They are at a huge advantage. They have to put this all out there real nice for you. You know what? Us being in the blockchain space, what do we do? We sit back and we watch the show.
Companies. And so there is momentum around this on Capitol Hill. Actually, just recently, there's a new framework introduced that's called the Digital Commodity Exchange Act that was introduced in Congress in, I believe, the Ag Committee, and there's bipartisan support.
Wait a minute. Hey, Fox, why did you cut Brad off right then and there? It just seems like you just cut him off at a crucial point. He was about to go into real depth about, Ripple, XRP, and cryptocurrency space. Don't you want the world to know that?
Yeah.
Blockchain. We talking about an intellectual choo-choo train. It's DLT up in these streets, man. That's why we rip all on that blockchain. What is going on today, blockchain monkeys? Eagle here, and I'd like to thank you for coming to my jungle. Now, first of all, I am no financial advisor whatsoever, nor am I a professional in blockchain technology. But there is one thing that I absolutely will do, and that's give you my opinion. So today, we had to go in a little bit on that interview because, as you can clearly see, there's some great things happening underneath the surface. Okay, real quick one today. I had to bring this to your attention because you have a pro Super Smash Bros. Player to receive salary in XRP. Like, what is going on here? What is going on around the world here? More gamers around the world are moving into crypto. A high-profile gamer is joining SPI Holdings, and I was like, SPI Holdings? Isn't that? No, I don't know how to say the name correctly. I always mess it up, but I'm going to attempt to say Hisataki Sakao. However you say it. You experts out there know exactly who I'm talking about. You got to think I'm just a monkey. But when I saw that, I said, oh, this is getting real serious. Signing a contract to receive his salary in major cryptocurrency XRP. Ken Suzuki, a professional player of crossover action fighting game Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or SSBU, has signed a contract with SBI Esports, the gaming arm of Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings. Ken is also considered to be the world's best Sonic player. If that doesn't ring a bell for you. Now, before I get to the next article, which one of you blockchain monkeys left this banana on the steps? I mean, I'm all for it, but this is hilarious. Okay, now, let's get back over here real quick. I got to go, but I had to jump in here real quick because what do you mean the USA is behind Trump's securities hawks called distributed ledger critical in U.S.-China tech arms race? Distributed ledgers. DLT up in these streets, man. DLT up in these streets, man. You see what's going on here. The Trump administration has included distributed ledger technologies, DLT, the granddaddy tech behind cryptocurrency and blockchain, in its strategy for preserving America's technological supremacy over China and Russia. You knew they were ready. You knew they were ready. Come on now, people. DLT is of 20 focus areas in the National Security Council's critical emerging technologies shortlist. The NSC strategy calls for investing in, adopting, and promoting the priority technologies. The signatures are already written. Everything's in place. This is you guys see what's going on here. This is Trump. You know what he's about. You know what he does. You best believe XRP and Ripple ain't going nowhere. They're staying right in the good old USA. That's what they like to call it, right? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. and we will all see each other on the moon.